Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Finally got everything working once again. Got a little bit of a good night's sleep as well, and working on the studio ever for the whole damn day on Saturday. But it's been worth it. Really happy with the way that things are turning out. And hey, do want to wish you well on this Sunday. Yeah, hey, have a nice little relaxing Sunday in your life. Bitcoin, we got plenty to talk about with Bitcoin. Holy fucking moly! Initiating a little bit of the path further south, but there's actually some new things to talk about now as Bitcoin kind of unravels the overall picture. So I do like that, and I do want to follow it with my own trades as you know, as we spoke about yesterday. My main trade, my actual long, of course, did take a loss, but of course, after that same trade making money for Jesus Christ for the last 5-6 months. Well, can you afford one loss? Yes, of course. And actually just switch it around right now with some options, which I suppose I'll show right now. Oh, and welcome to Chicago in the background. Just absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. This massive metropolis, this concrete jungle, just fucking phenomenal, man. And from this angle, you can actually even see my apartment. So with all of that said, I do want to wish you well. Do want to wish you the best, the happiest of the happiest, as we say. And now I'm going to press the button and initiate that teleportation. I'll see you in the live scene where Bitcoin. Wait, nope, that's my Deribit account. Well, I guess I'll just start here then. This is what I did as soon as my positions were telling me that I was going to be wrong on that. And of course, I always want to be very transparent. And this is why I love options, because my trade on spot was not going to work out. And again, that's just me playing my edge as a trader, even though my opinion was kind of not necessarily the best of the price action yesterday. I was going to try that trade just because it's been, it's the trend is your friend until the trend, of course, and it's worked out for the last 6 months. Pays for itself. But of course, as soon as I saw that, just started doing things with options. And as you can see right here, running a nice little P&L of about 0.63 Bitcoin. So quite happy with that. And of course, is it even really a loss at that point? No, he actually made it back plus some in just a few short hours. So with all of that said, let's actually follow it with price action. Bitcoin's in a very precarious area right here, as we actually do slump down to the 4 hours. So this is a secret trend line that nobody knows about. Nobody's seen this one right now. It's like, no, of course not. There's no secrets about the 4 hour 200 simple and 200 exponential moving average. Although all these, I always laugh at that because all these YouTube channels will say, and I get it, they're just doing it for YouTube stuff, but they'll say the secret trend line that nobody knows. Yeah, that's right, nobody's ever heard of the 200 simple. Jesus fucking Christ, the most used of them all, the most notorious of them all perhaps. And Bitcoin kind of catching on to it right here. The white and the purple moving average is what I'm speaking about. Those are both the 200 simple and exponential of the same variety. And when we do kind of back test this, it has been a pretty damn good indicator of where we are. It actually has provided some nice support. So I do think that Bitcoin tries to piece together a bounce here. I'm actually going to take all the moving averages off except for these guys. And you do see that throughout this whole last 6 months, ever since we kind of switched around in February, Bitcoin's been finding support along, especially the white 200 simple, only losing it once for a second, running over here on 10th of June. So overall, if Bitcoin does actually break it right here, and when I say break it, I mean opens and closes below it, below both these guys, as we haven't opened and closed below both these guys this whole run. In fact, did we even close below on this run right here? Maybe for a second. I'm trying to see. No, we did not. Wait, did we close below? No, we did not close below. Yeah, so we haven't closed below both of them ever. We got damn close in that last little one right here, but salvaged at the last second by $50. So overall, this is what I'm watching right now. While the higher time frames really did start to initiate some more nastiness, and let's actually go back to the daily right here. And now I feel so silly about this because I even spoke about it, but all of the people who have access to the Jewel were telling me about this, and of course I was seeing it myself and talking about it on stream. And this is me just. This is bad trading on my behalf, really. And I want to be very transparent when I say this sort of thing. This is bad trading on my behalf. Why did I not follow the Jewel signal right here? The daily Jewel gave a clear and obvious signal. We even spoke about it a few days ago saying, hey, if this thing gets a negative slope, well, there you go. And this one actually giving the sell signal officially on the 12th of July, which was right here at around 11,900 region. And then straight down after that. So all the people who have access to the Jewel were enjoying that one, except for me. Just me being stupid. But again, my edge on this trade, again, what was a 21x benchmark moving average on the daily. So my whole strategy was kind of predicated upon that fact. And because I've been following this, for the last 6 months, I wanted to kind of be consistent with it. And of course, one loss for Jesus Christ, so many, so many opportunities along this area. So generous it has been, can certainly afford that. Anyways, even yesterday, we actually didn't even officially break the 21x benchmark moving average. Again, this yellow moving average right here at about 11,235. But looking a little bit more nasty today. However, I do want to really focus on the 4-hour right here, just because the 200 simple and 200 exponential are obviously staring us in the face. While technically, yes, I could very easily have some lower price targets in the low 10,000 and then 9,500. You likely do get your bounces along the way. I do want to be careful in this region. It's just not historically the area to be short on. It's more likely that we actually piece together a little bit of a bounce here on the lower time frames. Where would a bounce target be? I don't really have any sort of targets. I think back above 11,000 is quite likely, 11.1. Perhaps we do see a lot of wicks within this region, so people are getting interested. And actually, let's bring up the historical volatility percentile. Yeah, okay, this is kind of what I was expecting to see. This makes me really reconsider the symmetrical triangle that everyone was looking at yesterday. I don't think that that's actually the right way to be charting it, and this is the problem with diagonals. And I'll explain. The historical volatility percentile, if we were actually breaking down, I'd expect this to be shooting over the last kind of local high that we saw right here. Instead, we don't. We still have that nice orderly drop off, which is also confluent with volume signature as well. If you look at this guy right here, just going from left to right, the volume is decreasing to the downside. So what I actually think is, and this is going to sound like some fucking bull hopium right here, or maybe some bullshit, but the thing is that as long as Bitcoin does hold the 200 simple and 200 exponential right here on the 4-hour, you could just as easily rechart it like this, and this is completely fine, and this is actually the right way to do it. But something like this is what I'd be talking about. It's actually even a little bit more symmetrical right now than it was before. Now, that also does mean if we actually do break this area, if we actually do crack through and close some 4-hour dildos below, what is it, about 10.6 we could call it, it's actually going to have a measure move much lower than my first target for the smaller one that we had when I was charting it like this, which both are equally valid to chart like. To be fair, they are equally valid to chart it like. However, the thing is that, when we do kind of progress within the overall market, you do have to, this is the problem with kind of like breakout trading, in my opinion. And because I'm not seeing exactly what I want to see from our volume signature and also our volatility signature, I would say that it's not all set. It's not all said and done just yet. I'd be now going off of this area right here. So if we actually do break this area, then yes, price target down around 8,000 would be kind of the move. So again, there's going to be areas of interest along the way. Of course, this guy right here at about 94, 9,500, which I still do think would be a bounce target. And then this guy right here at about just a hair below 9,000. And then, of course, a full-on measure move down here. But this is all coming into, this is all coming into the assumption that we actually break this area right here on the 4-hour. So because we're not getting that signature, I like to just take things one thing at a time. And of course, not everyone's going to do it this way. The more cavalier pattern traders will tell you that it's already broken, that we're headed down to 94, 95, which I understand that, yes, you can certainly make that argument for it right now. It's just for myself, I've seen this area hold up one too many times. And of course, we actually do see a lot of structural things lining up with this region. This horizontal right here, we're kind of in this next little liquid zone. So until we actually break this area, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And technically speaking, it'd actually still be making higher lows above this guy right here. So that's the whole thing. And remember, the weekly is going to be closing later tonight at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the problem with the weekly is that, even if we were to close like this, it makes it easy. It makes it a very easy way to trade this going forwards. If we close the weekly like this, or really anywhere below like 11.3, yes, there's pressure onto the downside, but the way to actually trade it would still be a little bit more deductive, at least for myself. Of course, everyone's free to do whatever they want. It's not financial advisor, but if we do actually then take out the low of this weekly dildo, which is around 10,550 now, then yes, a price target towards low 9,000 and then probably 8,000 going to be extremely likely. But for right now, I'd rather be a little bit more deductive. We actually do see that the 2-day yesterday let me actually put back on these guys right here, put back on all of these beautiful moving averages. Get in my face, you beautiful bitches. We actually do see that the 2-day 10 simple was rejected yesterday, although it did kind of close as a doji-ish dildo, although then again, it gets taken out to the downside, and you do see the 21 exponential moving average kind of staring us right in the face as well. More importantly, we actually do have some pretty nasty, we actually do have bearish divergence between this point and this point confirmed on price action, making higher highs, oscillators making lower highs, and typically when we get a setup like that, I do like to target the 21, which is a little bit further south at about 10,350. But remember, so it's going to come, all these things are going to play together essentially. If the 4-hour breaks that area, yes, we're extremely likely to head down to 10. We're extremely likely to head down really all the way to those next targets. But the way that it likely look is we'd probably have the next move down to about 10.3. Probably have a little bit of a bounce there, and then head down to about 9.4, 9.5. Have a little bit of a bounce there. Basically your prior low right here. And then bounce probably plays out, and then we probably head a little bit lower, and then that's kind of like the edge of it, where I'd say 8,500 to 8,000. I'd probably be looking for some signals of reversal for that. But remember this, Jesus Christ, man, this fucking coffee. God damn it, Starbucks. They keep on putting fucking seeds in their coffee. I've had enough of it, man. I'm actually just going to go get my own coffee maker today. Why haven't I done this already? Just so silly, man. I feel like a goddamn Instagram girl with this thing in front of my face. But it does taste good. I will say that. They have great taste, but holy shit. Figure out your brews, my friends. Figure out your fucking brews. Weirdly enough, in Chicago, there's a Starbucks literally on every fucking corner. It's insane. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I'm looking at right here. I do want to present both sides of that. I do think that we bounce here a little bit on the lower time frames. First and foremost, we do have some bullish divergence building up. Okay, come on, get off over there. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3 stabs on the hourly, which typically, once we get that, I would like to see a test back up towards about 11, maybe even 11.1, up around the 21. But remember, it's going to be coming down with each and every tick now. Let's see, do we have any on the 2-hour? We do not have any on the 2-hour, so it's only up to a 1-hour. That's pretty weak. More importantly, on the 2-hour, we're actually doing some that we've been talking about for a while as well. So remember, on the 2-hour, we were watching these two moving averages right here, the white 200 simple and the blue 3/7 cent exponential moving average. And historically, for the last 6 months, ever since we switched around the trend, each and every time that Bitcoin loses the white 200 simple, we shoot down and catch around the blue 3/7 cent exponential moving average. So this is also why I actually don't want to get too bearish here, even though my options positions are certainly exposed to the downside. But this is why I prefer to do it with options, because this is a fucking easy way to trade right here. I'm not in trouble until we get back above 11,500, so I have plenty of time to cover if that does happen. And of course, 11,500, there's pivots beforehand, so I could just cover well beforehand and actually still pull in that money. And that's again why I love options. By the same token, if we go below 10,500, I actually will have to put on real shorts. But for right now, I want to keep my spot positions clean and open. I don't want to have any risks there. No interest in having that. Anyways, with regards to this, once again, we have broken the white 200 simple, and we get that next little kind of shove down to the blue 3/7 cent exponential moving average. Now, we actually did close the last little below it. But what I need to see in order for this to really be broken is I need to see an open and close. And of course, with the 4-hour 200 simple and 200 exponential right in the same area as well, I would say that all of these things are going to come into confluence with each other. So I want to see all of them kind of ticked off. And remember, we technically didn't break the daily 21 just yet. So I'm a little bit on edge based off of the volume signature, based off the volatility. We're not seeing exactly just yet what I'd expect to see during if we were to really have a major breakdown. So I don't think that we've seen anything conclusive for the macro just yet. I'd want to see all those things really matching up if we were going, if we really are going to play it out, which is again very much possible. But and of course, the second that we took out yesterday's, a couple days ago, daily low, we had trades lower. But now from the macro, I'd rather come back, be a little more neutral, and kind of look at this with unassuming eyes. And again, we've come down to the 377. Yes, we can break it, but as long as we don't open and close any 2 hours below it, even though, I mean, we kind of did right on over here now, didn't we? Yeah, we did right over here as well. It's still not, it's still kind of an area of interest for myself, paired up with the 4 hour 200 and 200 simple and 200 exponential. So as long as, if not all of those things are ticked off, I still look at this area as probably likely to give it a little bit of a grind. You can see in the past that we can grind this out for like a week at a time. But my next big signal, if this thing were to turn around, or sorry, this would be this is a key part of this video. If Bitcoin can regain the 2 hour 200 simple after retesting after testing the 377, if we actually get a 2 hour delta close, or especially an open and close above this white 200 simple right here, I would get bullish once again, and I'd be targeting moves back up towards the high 12,000s, 12,500, 13,000 ish region. That also means that if we essentially, if we make even really any sort of a lower low, not even closing 2 hour deltas, but just wicking below our current lows, I would say that that's probably going to have the avalanche effect of closing off, closing below the 4 hour supports, and going to lead into that next major measure move off of this guy right here. But for now, I do think that we try to piece together a bounce. Look at our 2 hour oscillators. We actually do see 2 hour Stokes to the downside. What about hourly? Hourly down as well. They're actually kind of concurrent with each other. So I do like how things are kind of starting to smooth out. What about 3 hour? 3 hours in the same area. So 1 hour, 2 hour, and 3 hour, all in the same area right now. What about 4 hour? 4 hour, same area as well. What about 6 hour? 6 hour, same area here as well. 8 hour, same area as well. 10 hour, same area as well. 12 hour, same area as well. Daily, going to be crossing down as well, and actually rejecting the bullish control zone. So that would certainly be on the more bearish side as well. But my point is that, looking at all of this, I would be careful on this until we can actually break this area. So if we are going to hold here, you're going to probably see multiple attempts testing the 200 simple and 200 exponential, but no conclusive breaks. So that also means the second that we have a conclusive break, that's a signal that, hey, change behavior on this time frame, and we get to entertain some lower targets. Next major lower target is going to be right around here, around the prior low, about 9,500. Also the first measure move off the smaller symmetrical triangle, which again, looking at the volume signature right here, you do see that is consolidation still. I do have a little bit of problems with this. I just don't think it's time to get too damn bearish just yet. I don't think it's also not a time to be bullish. Don't get me wrong, but it's a consolidation, as we've been said for the last few weeks. It's consolidation right now, consolidation nation. So a little bit of a bird's eye view kind of helps remove all the emotions of this. Looking at 12 hour right here. 12 hour RSI dipping back into the bearish control zone, so not good there. 12 hour historical volatility percentile getting wrangled back below the moving average, which does tell me that, again, this is actually still just that consolidation. Same thing with daily. Well, daily should be around the same. The most bearish thing for me is that daily Jewel gave a sell signal a couple days ago, and typically when we get something like that, we will flood down to this next kind of fib area right here. Daily Stokes rejecting the bullish control zone just as of last night. So both those things are a little bit concerning, no doubt about that. And of course, the higher time frame that we go, the more and more potentially nasty that this can look. We got 2 day Stokes right here headed down, and they're going to lose the bullish control zone on the next tick if with any sort of a failure to get back up here. We do have the 2 day 21. So if we do break the 4 hour supports, next bounce-ish area is going to be around 10.3 region, most likely, and then probably about 9, I think it was, or sorry, 9.5, and then we could talk about 8 and 8.5. But for right now, I'd still kind of zoom out a little bit. Looking at 3 day right here, 3 day certainly looking sick. Looking at oscillators, we don't really have too much to be aware of. What about 3 day Stokes? Yeah, coming down. They're going to be coming down and out of the bullish control zone for the first time in a while. The thing is, though, is that usually when you get around the edge of the control zone, you do see, even if it's just going to be a little bit of a stutter step, you still do see a little bit of a stutter step, just because a lot of bots and algos will be closing their trades here. And if you're going to be, if you're going to be shorting right here, you're going to be buying, you're going to be buying, of course. And so that can cause a little bit of sideways price action as well. Anyways, my point is that, based off the higher time frames, I don't think that we've seen the conclusive thing that I want to see just yet. And what's up, Elite Bash? Good to meet you, man. Welcome to the cave, my friend. Jesus Christ, man, this place is growing at an incredible rate, and we've actually met a lot of new cool people, man. So for all of the rants that I do, I have to remind myself that 99% of people here are fucking amazing. and people that like I said, I've actually met several people in real life, and they've actually ended up being legitimately like life. I can tell that they'll be lifelong friends. Yeah, looking at this right here, I do want to talk about the higher degree of trend now. So okay. Let's talk a little bit more about the bearish scenario. All right, so we have the we have the green 50 exponential moving average right here and the white 200 moving average right here. The last time that we saw these guys crossed was to the downside, and price action flooded to the downside essentially. But let's see the last time that we saw an actual bullish cross, which was right on over here. This was after the turnaround in 2014, 2015. Now Bitcoin is bullish at this point, but you do see kind of a similar signature. And I'm not trying to be the fucking fractal motherfuckers over here. The goddamn fractal squirrels, like fractal. You said fractal. We do fractal now. It's like, what the fuck? I don't mean to make it a fractal, but just historically speaking, we do see that we do see price action actually flood into this cross, which is a good thing, actually. That's actually a good thing. It's telling you that it's going to get played. When the bots and algos pick it up right here, that is a clear and obvious reaction from them. It's a test, and their programming is saying bye, bye, bye. And as you can see right here, this cross is pretty far away from price action. In fact, it's all the way down at around the 8,000-ish region. So if we, I just want to kind of round up the bearish case, of course. If the bearish case, does get initiated below the 4-hour supports, then very, very likely this area is certainly within striking distance, and I'd say about 8,000 to 8,500. Remember, that's also going to be the gap on CMEs right over here. So we do have some market dynamic coming into play. This is all the way back from 11th of June, so more than a month ago. And I want to talk about this for a second. You probably heard all of these people on crypto YouTube, crypto Reddit, crypto Twitter, all these great social media venues, with amazing information. And the irony of that statement now coming out. No, my point is that people have been talking about filling the gap, for the last month, saying I'm shorting here because volume's low, the fundamentals are bad, and you know what? We have a gap lower, so let's do it, right? Well, my point is that we put them through a month of pain. Most of these people are probably liquidated or have about accounts half the size, and now when we're and now it's actually an actual potential. So I would say that in the future, something to be aware of is that there's no timing component of these. I've seen gaps go unfilled for literally sometimes years, sometimes years. And I'm just making sure that my mic is on. Yes, my mic's on. Great. Good one, you fucking moron, Krown. But sometimes they can get unfilled for years. So when people act like there's some sort of like black hole, be careful of that. That's not been my experience with it. And my experience, again, coming from traditional markets where this is a natural, an everyday occurrence almost. Whereas in Bitcoin land, it doesn't happen all that much. We only have like one prolonged close during the weekend for CMEs. Anyways, you do see, more importantly, that CMEs did close at 7:30 on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So barring any sort of, assuming that we assuming that we don't pick up any bids between now and end of day, we will have a nice gap to the upside as well. So that also does mean that the next move back up to that 10.7 region, I'd probably be a seller on. Actually, we do see the low side of this dildo at about 11.2. So yeah, anywhere below 11.2, we will have a gap to the upside. So actually, I would be potentially looking for sells, assuming that spot closes below 11.2 by end of weekend, which is essentially tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. By the way, working on getting some new lights as well. I've been hit up by a lot of people, gotten some amazing, phenomenal advice. It's just I really want to figure out a way where I can still show my background, but not have it completely overwhelm what's going on here. And I think I've found a solution, but it does take a while to get all the shipping and shit handled. Anyways, yep. So looking at CMEs right here, we actually do see daily Stokes down. I don't like that. This is gonna have a nasty open most likely. Looking at the weekly close that we got, a pretty fucking nasty close. Although we have gotten a series of doji doodles before, and it wasn't death sentence. Still not my favorite setup. So yeah, just do want to show that. I do want to show a few more things on Bitcoin, just from a longer term perspective that kind of aligns with this 8,000 level. If we do get down there, I'd probably be looking for some more long term plays. So people keep on asking me where's my long term plays at? Of course, it's not financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is what I'll be doing. And again, understand that this, understand my perspective on this doesn't mean that's 100% going to work out. It's just a trade idea. But basically, not only does it line up with structural supports, the measure move that we saw in the bigger formation, but it also lines up with this dotted trend line that these red arrows are pointing towards, which has been a phenomenal trend line in Bitcoin's history. When we were living below it right on over here, it was a great accumulation zone. Once we broke above it, boom, 1, blow off your top, boom, 2, blow off your top once again, come back down, and where do we come? Based on this trend line, and then blow off our top once again, and then we actually broke it back down to the downside right on over here, just like we did in 2011, 2012, and buys below this region were phenomenal. Then once we broke back above it, we retested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and as you can see, kind of a similar reaction as Bitcoin goes straight to the fucking moon from them. More importantly, if we come back down and retest this trend line, it would currently be coming in around that 8,500. It'd be coming around about 8,500. So multiple things lining up with this region as as an area to be aware of. You also do see some fibs kind of coming in this region. In fact, I want to take a fib from the last market cycle high to low, which apparently I didn't save in here. But let's just do it really, really quick. Super easy to do. And let's bring them over like that. There we go. And you do see the 382 coming in around 95. 236 coming in here. There actually is a fib between the 382 and the 236. The number is escaping me right now, but it likely would be coming in right here, which would be congruent with that 8,000 level. Again, a little bit of a cheat there. I probably should have that one in, but they get so convoluted, man. I don't like to have too many in, but it's probably going to be somewhere between them right there, which would be about right here. So again, we do have multiple things lining up with that. Of course, I fucking hate this. I don't hate this indicator, but it's just a silly indicator. It's a fucking it's a very I'll put it this way. It's a very user-friendly indicator, which is okay. And this is the Super Gup. It's basically just an EMA ribbon, just a shit ton of EMAs. And you do see when this thing turns green, stays green for a while. When it turns red, stays red for a while. This guy turning up green right on over here, turning red for a while, turning green for a while, turning red for a while, turning green for, these are years at a time for price action. And we relatively recently just turned green in end of May. So basically beginning of June. When this thing historically likes to play it out for years at a time. I would say that longer term, am I super bearish looking for Bitcoin to go back to new lows? No, I'm not looking at that. I will be looking, even if Bitcoin does break down here, I won't be buying at 95, won't be buying at 9,000, probably 85 or 8,000, but I would be looking for long-term, plays in that region. Not only that, but if we take this guy back off and just look at the chart kind of naked, I want to put specific awareness on this green 50 exponential moving average. As you see, this guy has been a damn good indication of overall strength of trend. You do see in the past when, on our past market cycle, when Bitcoin broke back above, when it was trending to the upside, it never broke below the 50 exponential moving average until we actually put in our highs. So, it switches around the market cycle right here, it's technically right here, but this is where you get your momentum. And then we just kind of ride up. And during all of the major nasty downturns, yes, we do have wicks below, but we never close below the 50 exponential moving average. So on the 3-day, and that goes all the way up, for the next few years. So if we did get if I did get a price action move down around this region, again, I'd probably like that from a risk reward perspective, from a historical perspective. And where is it coming in around? About 8,000 to 8,500. So a lot of things lining up with this region. And that's kind of what I want to show. So from a longer term perspective, that's where I'd have my eyes on. Of course, it's also worth mentioning that's the weekly right here. If we just take off everything except for the 21 exponential moving average, we do see that this has also been a damn good indication of where we are. You see it basically walked Bitcoin up during all of 2017. sorry, 2015, or sorry, 2016 to 2018, and it walked us down during 2018, and now it's been walking us up, and where this guy be coming in a little bit lower than the 3-day, but still in the same region, and you'd imagine that over the next couple weeks it's going to be coming in right around about 8,500, mid 8,000s essentially. So again, just another thing saying, hey, around that region from a historical perspective, I would be looking for buys if the 4-hour breaks down. But let's talk about the bulls for a second. Because I do think that, I'm probably promoting a little bit of hopium here, but let's actually talk about this for a second. I still identify this as Jesus. That was loud. Hey, what's up, Brian? Good to meet you, man. Welcome to the cave, my friend. We talked about the downside movements. What if this actually turns around right here? We kind of put in some time grinding this area out and then switch around, get back above maybe 11.5, which would be a change behavior on the shorter term timeframes and would align likely with the test back up towards 12.3, 12.5 region. If that were to happen and we actually do test the upside of this and break to the upside above 12.6, then I would be looking at a measure move towards 15,500. So the bulls certainly do have, something to look at here. As this overall, this is still quite orderly in the way that it's coming down. So that's why I don't want to get ahead of myself by getting bearish, more bearish than more bearish than is appropriate until we actually break this area. And realistically, when you look at this on a daily, we're still creating higher lows above this guy in the way that I kind of look at it. Yeah, and the 2-day coming in right there. So I'm just going through all the different time frames. Yeah, 2-day and 3-day, all also saying the same thing. I mean, that's still 3-day very, very clear right here. I do have I certainly do see what the bulls are looking at. Although I think I'm not sure what side is the crowded trade right now. Is it the is it to the upside or the downside? I don't know what other people are saying. I'd imagine that most people are looking down right now, especially after a move like this. But I'd be careful. Regardless of whether I'm bearish or bullish, I actually do look for a bounce off this region. Like I said, probably around low 11,000 region is where I'd be looking towards. So maybe like a $200, $300 move. I'm not trading it myself. Again, for full disclosure, I'm actually short on options, and I will remain short as long as we're below about 11,500. There's just really no reason. I will have to cover to the downside actually if we do go below 10.5. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Let's go over and check out. Let's go check out some fundamental indicators. Actually, the only fundamental indicator that I'm really watching right now, just because all the other ones have basically said, we bottomed out a long time ago, and after that, they're kind of not too helpful really. But the Bitcoin network momentum, which is basically we are plotting the network momentum in this brown line chart here versus price right here. And you do see a nice signature from the past when we actually gain momentum on this by creating higher lows and higher highs. It creates a nice little uptrend, and when we actually break above, a pivot like this, it creates what seems to be bullish momentum over the long period of time. So once we kind of do this, we set a nice horizontal as a base, and Bitcoin rallies up for the next couple of years, and then we actually start making lower highs on this oscillator, and that's when the highs are put in. When we actually break back down below that same horizontal, that is where the high is confirmed, and we're now downtrending, and then we actually created trend to the downside right on over here, of course. And then once Bitcoin actually starts to gain momentum once again and put in a higher low, that's actually not where the low is put in. The low is put in once we break back above this same horizontal right here. As you can see on the breakage of this area right here, that lines up perfectly with this guy right here on price action, which was the actual low. And then after that, the bullish momentum is gained, and then we do the same thing right on over here. Higher highs, as soon as we get our first higher high and higher low, on the macro, the bullish momentum is regained once again, and we do the same thing, setting in a horizontal right here, sets in a pair of lower highs on this guy from here to here, massively lower high, and then flood down. Calling the tops once again, and then once we kind of come back down and downtrend for a little bit of time, now we've had over the last few months since February, our first example of something different going on where, we have made a higher high, have we made a higher low, kind of, but I do want to see this area curl out right around here. So if you are bullish on the macro, what you really need to see from this indicator is for it to flatten out and then get a positive slope. If the next tick is down, I would say that is going to be interpreted very badly by the market, and more importantly, we will actually be in full bullish momentum swing, believe it or not. And I know it sounds crazy, we will be in full bullish momentum swing from a macro perspective based off this once we get back above this region right here, which on the network momentum is quite far away from where we are right now, as you can see. So that would actually imply that this thing has some crazy ranges is what I'm trying to say. So let's actually go and look at the expected moves chart right here. This is expected moves with regards to true historical volatility, and you do see that the first standard deviation range right here is actually pretty bearish. We are significantly angled to the downside, so this would be on the more bearish side, of course. The low side of this would be coming in right around about 10,000 even on the first standard deviation. That's the most, kind of like the most likely range to happen between about the top side to about 10,450, downside about 10,000 even. The second standard deviation bringing us in a range from 12,200 all the way down to 9,400. So a move out of that side, move outside of that range today is like less than 5% likely. And of course, the third, it would be all the way down to 87 and as high as about 13, whereas that's literally less than 1% chance of happening. So to kind of synthesize it down, it is less than like 31 to 32% chance of actually trading outside this first standard deviation right here. So if we are still consolidating, then this would be technically the range. That would also imply if we move outside of this first standard deviation, that would be a pretty unlikely range, and that would also lead to that flooding of price action down, likely into that next target region, much lower. So I did want to show that, but again, I don't think it's appropriate to get bearish as long as we're kind of holding up above these guys right here. These have been pretty good. The secret trend line saving Bitcoin, the hero of Bitcoin, saving it for the last 6 months. Anyways, let's go do some more fun stuff. Let's go look at Bitcoin as a trend on Google Trends. And hey, I don't want to fucking update my computer. God damn it. Okay, let's past 12 months. You actually do see that we are uptrending on this guy, but we need to really to represent this against the past. We need to go to a higher time frame. That's what we need to do. And you can see right here, nowhere near our ultimate highs, which was of course December 2017 when the mania was in full swing. Anyways, right now you actually do see a lot of a lot of African countries are really into Bitcoin, which is kind of cool. As I think that's probably the biggest use case, right? Bank the unbanked, and where do we have a lot of unbanked people? Unfortunately, in Africa. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, people always talk about why you care about Bitcoin. It's like, well, actually, it's kind of a good thing for a lot of people, really. If you can't trust your government's currency, it's probably better that it's probably a little bit of a better option, I'd imagine. That's why all these cross-border remittance payment processors are really interesting. I mean, that's why the Facebook Libra coin is actually potentially a pretty big game changer. Then again, we do have kind of a war going on between the United States head of government and then Facebook. But I think that's more of like a Zuckerberg thing versus Trump, because Trump and Zuckerberg do not like each other, right? I don't know if Trump really is focused on Bitcoin. I think he's more focused on on good old Zuck. So I think that's gonna get blown out a little bit of proportion. But remember, we're just kind of coming down to supports right here. So far, it doesn't mean it can't break. In fact, if this area does break, this will be in for a world of pain. Much lower, like I said, there will be bounces, or very likely there will be bounces along the way. But the trajectory would be set kind of, especially in my opinion, down into the mid to low eights, most likely. Let's go look at another thing. Let's actually go look at. So we've looked at Bitcoin, right? All right. Well, how many people are hodling now? Is hodl popular anymore? Let's actually go back to the past 12 months. Let's go to the last year. It's picking up in interest. Actually, it actually got up to a 94 in June. So June was a good month. But let's do something better. Let's look at hodl versus wrecked. Who is winning the war right now? And holy shit, look at that, baby. There's still more people getting wrecked than hodling right now. So that would be a good indication that market still is a little bit unripe. If we actually go back to the past 5 years, I'm curious how this was operating in 2017. What was trending above the other? And as you can see right here, we had a massive, massive surge of hodl over wrecked, and that's actually a really interesting thing. If we do see hodl get back above wrecked, maybe we go parabolic. When more people are hodling than getting wrecked, then there you go, my friends, and there you go. But yeah. As you can see, what's a country getting the most wrecked, actually? I'm curious what that one would be. Get out of here, you fuck. There we go. No, I just want you. I just want I just want one wrecked, please. Get fucking erect. There we go. Hey, can you stop? Can you stop it? There we go. That's what I want to know. All right. Estonia is getting the most wrecked. Fuck them. That was probably me searching it up there. Like, who's getting wrecked today? Romania's pretty wrecked. Finland's also. Is this from me? I wonder if these are like sorry, and if you're not familiar, these are the last two countries that I lived in for the past couple of years. I don't recall actually looking up wrecked that much, but maybe this is the actual signal. I think I must have been searching up, why is my residence permit wrecked? Fucking goddamn. Let's see. Singapore, pretty wrecked. Czechoslovakia, pretty wrecked. Hungary, I actually lived in Hungary years and years ago as well. Norway, wrecked. Lithuania, wrecked. Latvia, wrecked. Australia, wrecked. New Zealand, wrecked. Netherlands, wrecked. Sweden, wrecked. Hong Kong, wrecked. All right, we'll go back to the beginning. Estonia is the most wrecked, though. That's quite surprising. I didn't know that. Wouldn't have thought that Estonia really even cared about Bitcoin, to be honest with you. No, they actually are a little bit more forward thinking, and they do want to get everything online. So perhaps I am wrong on that. Anyways, just having a little bit of fun. Let's have a little bit more fun. You know how we will know when we're in the next big bull market, like the biggest of the bull markets. Let's look at this is the actual secret indicator. This is the actual secret indicator right here. You might know this man. He is a phenomenal man. He puts out great content talking about like literal shit coins and how to invest in them. And I won't say anything more than that. He's a great guy though. Anyways, when we can actually look at his views and subs per month, we can actually see where the craziest of crazies starts to propagate once again, as he's been downtrending for the past couple years or past year and a half on both his views and his subs. And what does that kind of tell us? Well, this is probably one of the first people that people will see if they come into this space. He was one of the first people that I saw when I first came into this space, doing his videos and talking about all of these amazing projects, which he may or may not be getting paid from. I don't know. But looking at my own emails, maybe, and you'd actually be surprised at what these guys offer. Like what, and it's even more surprising to see what they offer and then know, oh wow, you're selling yourself out for that much money. Interesting. And he's not selling out. He probably believes in these things. I don't know. I can't make these discussions, or sorry, can't make these distinctions. I don't know. I shouldn't judge someone that I don't know. I can just present the facts, which here we have some facts. Downtrending for the last year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half, and more importantly, when we actually do see this start to get back above 1 million views per month, and I would start to say that this guy, that's going to be a good indication that we are getting the retailers back into the market. But I would say that retail is still kind of out. Again, when we look at it right back on over here with Bitcoin worldwide for the past 5 years, we're still on the lower side. We're at about a 17 marker, bottomed out at around a 7. Yeah, at around a 7. I think 7 or 6 is the lowest that we got to. I was looking for a 5. We got about 2 away from that. Fair enough. Not going to be perfect with it, but more importantly, looking at something like this, pretty damn close. Anyways, let's go over and do one more long-term analysis thing. It is a little bit of a Sunday, so why not? And well, actually, we can do multiple things here. All right. So first and foremost is the good old matrix, the matrix of Bitcoin with all of these dotted trend lines representing support trend lines for each and every parabolic market cycle done in Bitcoin's history. You do see this first one being originated in 2010 and in 2011, anchored in both those areas, gets broken in 2012, becomes our highs of 2013 and 2014 right here. Then we create another support trend line for this next parabolic market cycle anchored in 2011 and 2013, and that gets broken in 2014 right here and becomes the parabolic highs of our 2017-2018 market cycle right here. Then we create another support trend line, which actually is synonymous with that same trend line that I showed on Bitstamp earlier, showing support at about 8,000, anchored right here. Anchored right here, 2015 and 2016, calling the lows and also calling it the former accumulation zones, and that was broken right on over here, and it has not operated as a parabolic high giver right here. In fact, this one I think is kind of like a median, and the other ones are more like I don't know how to explain it just yet. I think I need to actually just watch what happens from here. I really don't know, but my hypothesis would be it would be some sort of an indication on kind of like the aggressiveness of our current market cycle, if that makes sense. anyways, we do see that that this would be coming in right around here, and more importantly, we've actually done something different from the past ones as we've broken back above one of those parabolic support trend lines. In fact, if we do something like this, we could actually do something like this as well, which I haven't done just yet. But let me get back on where are these guys? Yeah, the extended ones. So we want to get this low right here, and we want to get this low right here is where we're looking for. There we go. You know, we could actually say, you know, a range, if we were to break this trend line right here, likely does come all the way down to this next trend line, which would also be synonymous with the 618 Fibonacci retracement from the former high to the former low of the past prior mark cycle, which again would be about 7,500-ish region. So just more things kind of lining in that area if we were to break this. But for now, I still do think that I need more time. I don't really know what to think just yet. I think that I mean, we're looking at literally about almost 10 years of price action here. I think we need another 5 years before we actually have a full understanding of what these mean. But for now, interesting. Anyways, with regards to that, we can come up with, you know, potential areas of support going onwards and forwards here over the next few years, just going up to the beginning of 2020. Potential support along this first area about 12.5, 13,000, and then potential support right on over here about 73.50. If we were to extend this just another one further, then we could go all the way to 2021. Potential support of 32,000, and potential support on this lower one of about 17, or a little bit below 17. If we go just a little bit more towards 2022, we can look at this guy right here. And this one would be all the way at $80,000, and the lower entry would be around 36,000. So I'm playing around with these right now because this would be the support trend line of this past one. This would be a more long-term trend line, which has been a great indication of where we are. So I would tentatively say that as long as we're above this trend line here, we are macro bullish, which I would say matches up with all the other technicals. It would also imply that if we break this trend line, we probably that would switch around the macro bias, in my opinion, to bearish, and I'd probably be looking for a move to this next trend line here, which is significantly lower, and probably do try to find lows on the next area. So that's what I'd say. That's kind of my hypothesis right now. Again, this is highly experimental, long-term type stuff. I don't put too much weight on this much of long-term stuff. Am I making trades off this? Fuck no. It's more just fun to talk about on the YouTubes because, you know, it gets views, and it's a Sunday, man. There's not too much else to talk about. Actually, there's a lot of things to talk about. Bitcoin's been moving all fucking day. But, you know, you get my point. Just kind of some mental masturbation, which is good to do with the friends. So let's all join hands. No, just kidding. Okay, cool. So I suppose this is the time where I go to the deeps, to the depths of hell, and look at the altcoins. Actually, before we do that, let's look at the Bitcoin dominance for a second. BTC.D on TradingView. Okay, cool. So I do still think that we actually do hit this measure move. We got pretty fucking close. So my measure move target was about 69.69. We got up to 68.59. So and these are percents, by the way. If we go down to a lower time frame, we do see that this appears to be kind of flagging out right now. I'd still say that the Bitcoin dominance chart is bullish. So I would be worrisome about alts versus Bitcoin. I still do think that this is bullish, and I still do think that we actually hit this area right here. So that would spell a little bit more doom and gloom for alts. Before, you know, I'd be looking for lows being put on a lot of them. If and when we do get to this region right here, I would be looking for a pullback. That's likely the next time that you see alts have a nice move. But remember, you know, I think that would probably be temporary because this is still very, very bullish as far as I'm concerned. While I do think that we have a pullback off this region, and probably, you know, it probably takes us time, which is going to give alts, you know, a little bit of a breather. The weekly and monthly are both good. They're both really fucking good, which reminds me, I forgot to talk about the monthly on Bitcoin. Let's just go back here very briefly. Monthly on Bitcoin, I still like it from long term. Monthly Stokes, straight up and erect. Again, we're dealing with big numbers, so pullbacks will be nasty, and they will happen. But longer term, I do like what I see. Monthly RSI, getting back into the bullish control zone, although the last time that we kind of had a signature like this, after being away from it for so long, it turned into a rejection and a retracement of about... about 35, 37%. Not only that, but monthly Jewel actually crossing up and giving a soft buy signal as well. But these are on a monthly, right? They operate on a long-term time frame schedule. More importantly, we are above the median band right here. We actually got our first open and close last month above it. And while we are, yes, getting reject from the top shoulder bands right here, I would say that this is overall a bullish setup for the more long term. And I think that gets even accentuated once we go up to a higher time frame like the quarterly. And again, this is a quarterly. It's going to take a long time. It takes literally 3 months to get one tick, and we just got one. But quarterly Stokes are to the upside. Quarterly RSI did regain the exponential, and quarterly did close right on top of that fucking Trollinger band right there. This is a good setup in my opinion. But it also would say though, you got major structural support down here. So again, these ranges are big, but I want to show from a long-term trajectory that I do have a bullish bias for a long term. Doesn't mean that we can't get massive pullbacks. Anyways, let's go check out the other top two shitcoins. Or actually, we'll look at Link just really quick because Link is one of the only ones that does its own thing. For the other ones, you can just kind of look at the Bitcoin dominance chart and say, yeah, looks about right. Catching the 10 simple as support. I do think that we probably give another test towards 31,000 satoshis. But overall, it's in a consolidation phase. It's had a massive, nice, girthy run to the upside. Very, very powerful. Very, very nice. But more importantly, it's in a consolidation phase. I would still run with the assumption that this is healthy, but it's going to take its time. So while I do think you get to move up here, it's probably going to create a range between about 26 and 31 and play that out for a while. And again, for the rest of the alts, you can probably just look at the Bitcoin dominance chart and engage it from there. If you're looking at them versus Bitcoin, if you're looking at them versus the dollar, still just watch whatever Bitcoin's doing, and they're probably going to mimic that in some way. So let's go check out the top three. I've gotten so many requests to drop doing all of the fucking shit chains, and I think it's about time as well. Except for like on live streams when we can talk about them a little bit more. So again, please do not take that as like any sort of an insult against you. It's just talking about these shit chains, not about any sort of particular person. But looking at Mrs. Litecoin right here. Pretty bad. The most bearish thing for Bitcoin is the fact that these alts are just not looking strong. Now, if Litecoin does close the weekly, which closed tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, anywhere below $93.50, I'd be looking for movements much lower over the coming month or two. And when I say much lower, I mean probably back down to like 70, maybe even 66. But weekly needs to hold here. 93.5 needs to hold. We're literally right here right now, but it's a long day until close at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I wouldn't even say anything about the lower time frames here. I mean, this probably does have a little bit of a bouncy bounce or try to bounce off the daily 200, which is still a little bit lower, actually all the way at about $87. So again, it actually looks pretty bad. Jesus Christ, man! But I'd really be going off the weekly here. It's so close to kind of confirming. I'd be going off that. Same thing with Mr. Buterol. Any sort of a daily total close below 250 today, or sorry, not even 250, 249, and I'd be first having a target towards 225, and then probably lower over time. It's going to come down to the weekly as well. If the weekly close, this looks really bad. If the weekly closes below 260, 263 today. If the weekly closed below 263 today, I'd probably be looking for significantly lower prices. I mean, a target's going to be around 230 to 225, but I don't think it stops there. I think that we would head further south. Actually, sub $200 would be a strong possibility at that point. We do see weekly Stokes taking a nosedive here, similar to Bitcoin as well. These are the most bearish things on the board right now. So I would be, I certainly would be careful right now. This is, I mean, just because Bitcoin is catching, a major area, these also are not looking good, and we want to see the market moving together with each other. We don't want to see just, the king moving and not the soldiers following. That's not a good sign. And again, don't take that as me being a maximalist. I think that there are going to be some very successful altcoins. Just I don't really have the time to put into looking at what they're going to be, or really even care for that matter. I'm a trader first and foremost, man. I'm not the person to go to for investing advice or advice at all, man. I'm just sharing my experience. That's all I'm doing. Anyways, okay, all right. So, okay. So I guess that's kind of the end. I do want to announce before I close this off, I do want to give up the opportunity to a couple of programmers. If you know a little bit of programming, I have a couple of very, very simple jobs for you. I will be happy to repay you with a massive discount on one of my programs. And of course, I know there's going to be some people who say, you're just going to give them a discount on your program. Well, understand that this work is not going to, it's going to be it's going to be an imbalance. But the person that I'm looking for to do this is probably someone, maybe in their early 20s who might not be as financially stable or sound as most people who get into the program, which is all well and good. But I want to give you that for a little bit of value arbitrage. It's very, 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 very simple task, but I do need it done, and it will make it's actually going to be good for a whole community, which I think people are going to really I think people are going to really enjoy this. So yeah, again, if that sounds like you, hit me up. I'm not going to go over your finances or anything like that to make sure that you are that person, but please just self-select into that, and I'd be happy to give up this opportunity. And as far as that goes, what else do I want to talk about? Yeah, I guess we'll just wrap this bitch up now. So with Bitcoin right here, let's go back to my GDAX chart. Again, full disclosure, just playing these shorts right here, running about 0.6 Bitcoin profit. Happy with that. Yes, I did take a loss yesterday. I want to be very, 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 very open with that. Happens, man. It fucking happens. And well, does a loser pay for itself? I mean, immediately with these options and plus some. Anyways, okay, if Bitcoin does close a 4-hour doodle below both these guys right here at about 10.6, then yes, I'd say that this is not gonna shape up into another symmetrical triangle. This is gonna be a full-on breakdown. But for right now, the volume signature on this is still inconclusive as of a major breakout or breakdown. I think it's still time to be a little bit more cautious. If you do see multiple wicks being kind of provided within this region without any sort of full closures below or breakdown, I would say that then that's going to be a good signal that we probably do try a little bit of upside. Like I said, we do have bullish divergence only on an hourly, which is not that good. I mean, and even on the lows right here on the hourly, this is not being bought. It doesn't look good, to be fair. But I'd still be going off that. I'd rather have a much more deductive process in doing this. But yeah, bounce targets, even on the most bearish bounce targets, I'd still say maybe 10.8, 10.9, 11,000, somewhere in this region right here. Basically just calling out every fucking number that's $100 up. That's not too helpful. You get my point though. It's if things don't change around, this is the more important point to say. I would confirm this as a still symmetrical triangle consolidation if we bounce from here and get back above about 11.5. If we do that, I would identify this still as a symmetrical triangle and actually have a bullish bias on it. But right now you can see that we're about what, $700 below that point, or sorry, even more than that, about $800. So I would be careful with that. We're kind of in a decision phase once again, and because we haven't seen the full-on signature of what I'd want to see on a breakdown, I'd say that it's the more conservative thing to just redraw this for now and come back at it later. So I'll just briefly redraw this right here. Here's a 10.5, or sorry, but it's really like 10.4 or 10.450 pivot right there. Anywhere above there, and I'd be looking for another move towards 12,000 and probably do break that to the upside and probably do travel back up here to the top trend line. But for now, fucking around on the danger zone. So it's a good old danger zone. Anyways, I'm gonna leave you off right there. If we do get closed below this region, yes, that's when I start to look for the next leg down, 95 to 9,400, very, very likely. There will be bounces along the way, most likely. There will probably be a bounce maybe somewhere around here at around a prior low of about 99, 98 to 99. But I do think that it gets sold into if we got down there, and then probably come down all the way here, and then play at another bounce, and then probably do head further south towards the next target. But for right now, I'd rather just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy Sunday. So I do want to wish you well. I'm gonna go eat a shit ton of food and get fat as fuck. Really excited about it. That's my Sunday tradition, is just eat as much food as possible. And I do want to wish you well on this nice little Sunday morning over here from Chicago, Illinois. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more live stream and video analysis. So looking forward to seeing you there. Hopefully by then, well, probably not by then, I won't have the lights, but I'll be working on it today. So again, massively appreciate you sticking with this and bearing with me. I know it's an eyesore a little bit right now coming from the witness protection plan, but it's slowly but surely coming together, slowly but surely in this place, which I'm really, really excited about to do the full unveil and the full reveal, probably sometime later this coming week. Anyways, without further ado, I don't want to keep you any longer, and I do want to wish you well. Take care and see you soon.